Hello and welcome to the Twins Mummy and I podcast. I am mummy to 2-year-old twins, Isla and Daria. Join us in our twin adventure as I explore a range of topics on parenthood. Hello everybody and welcome to the 39th episode of the Twins Mummy and I podcast. If you've just stumbled upon this podcast, my name is Carla and I work as a TV journalist, but now I am a stay-at-home mum to twin toddlers. If you're interested in topics such as maternal mental health, parental well-being and what life is really like for a first-time twin mum, then this is the place for you. You are very welcome. You can also check out our twin adventure on Instagram at twinsmummyni. In this week's podcast episode, Julianne shares her journey as a mother of triplets and a newborn. She discusses her fertility journey, the challenges that she has experienced of breastfeeding, and the joys of raising a large family in Southern California. Julianne emphasises the importance of community support and maintaining faith throughout her motherhood experience. She offers valuable advice for expecting parents of multiples and reflects on the beauty and chaos, which you can probably hear in the background, of multiples family life. For all that and more, why not grab yourself a little cup of tea and join Julianne and I as we discuss our experiences of multiples motherhood from across the Atlantic Ocean. Hello, Julianne. You are very welcome. Thank you so much for gifting us with your time for this week's podcast episode. Will we make a start?
I have the baby. She's breastfed, so I'm going to feed her.
Absolutely. And if you want to breastfeed her during the chat, by all means, of course, I have one twin in one room and one in the other at the minute. And you'll probably, sometimes they make an appearance during the podcast. Nappies need changed or they'll need fed. So don't worry. Yes, of course, by all means. So tell us who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your family.
Okay, so my name is Julianne, and I have 3-year-old triplets and a 3-month-old baby, and I live in Southern California. And our triplets, they were not spontaneous. They did fertility treatment, but it was still shocking and surprising.
Take us back to that day whenever you found out that you were having triplets. What was that experience like?
Well, before I found out I was having triplets, I found out that I was pregnant and I had a dream that I was having twins. And I just felt it, like I knew. I was like, I'm having twins, like I just know. And so we went in for the ultrasound and right away I saw 2 babies. And in my head, I thought, oh my goodness, it's twins. And then she moved it and she said, are you seeing this? And I was like, what? And she's like, there's 3. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But I feel like it wasn't as shocked because I felt that I was having multiples, but definitely I kept saying, oh my goodness, there's 3.
I can't imagine what went through your head when you found out they were going to have not 1, not 2, but 3 babies.
Well, we did fertility treatment for a few years, and we were just so happy, like, to become parents. I feel we were more excited than anything else.
A lot of the multiples mums and fathers I speak to have been like yourself on that fertility journey. Are you happy to talk us through what that experience was like? And if there are any listeners out there who perhaps are currently on that fertility journey, if you had any advice for them?
Yes. So it was very difficult. It was difficult emotionally, physically. We did 4 rounds of IUI, so that's intrauterine insemination, and none of them took. The various tests, like there's so many tests that we went through and they're all very painful. Like they do, like to check if your fallopian tubes are open. And then there's another test that we did that to see if like the uterus is, like if there's anything in the uterus to have a baby. That was very painful. And it turns out that I had fibroids. So I had the fibroids removed. And then that's when I did another round of the IUI. And that's when we got pregnant with the triplets. But it's all very traumatic even still when I think about it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, we'll certainly not go into too much detail. It's something that's certainly very prevalent. I've noticed in a lot of the multiples community. What wonderful news, to be here today with 4 children. It's incredible, and I really admire you. Tell us about each of your children, what their names are, and maybe something unique about them.
Just gonna feed it really quick. Sorry.
Yes, of course. Just for anybody listening, I'll let you know what's happening, or maybe even Julianne can share with you. You have your youngest on your lap and you're just about to breastfeed her now. Tell us about your youngest child.
So her name is Alana. She's 3 months old, and she actually, we did not do fertility treatment with her. So it's been an entirely different experience. We knew that we wanted more kids, but I did not want to do fertility treatment again. So we just said, if it happens, it happens. And my OB did tell us after the triplets that usually, once the body knows how to do, one successful pregnancy, then it's easier to get pregnant next time. So that's what happened for us. My other kids, so there's Annalie. She is the most talkative and she's the boss. Aviana, she is very caring. She loves animals. She loves stuffed animals. She's very, very caring. And then Nolan, he is obsessed with dinosaurs right now.
I have to say, all 4 of those names are absolutely beautiful. I suppose we might as well have a chat. You're obviously breastfeeding at the moment. Talk us through what that experience is like. I never breastfed, but I really admire a lot of the mums out there when you see them who are breastfeeding. Has it been a positive journey for you? Or
So for the triplets, I did attempt to breastfeed. It wasn't really successful. They were premature, so they would latch, but they were not strong enough to get any milk out. And I was recommended to latch them and then bottle feed them and then pump. And I was like, this is not doable with 3 kids, but I did try. So I ended up just pumping for 3 months for the triplets. And then with her, it's been a very positive experience. I knew that I wanted to do it, and it's been going great, and it's actually pretty healing to be able to do it this time around.
I really admire you even attempting to breastfeed triplets and then obviously been able to pump them. I have to ask, can you describe what it's like being a mom of 4 in California?
So we are in Southern California. In the LA County. So it is very busy, fast-paced, and expensive. We really need 2 incomes to support our family of 4.
Yeah.
I do crave a slower lifestyle. I feel like we don't have work-life balance here with it being so expensive. But we are very fortunate to be here. I mean, it's the weather is fantastic. We could drive an hour to the mountains, 20 minutes to the beach, 2 hours to the desert. We have everything. We do a lot of things with the kids locally, and we do a lot of road trips with them. So it is very beautiful, but also hard.
I can only imagine. Talk us through some of those activities that you do with the kids in California. What do they really enjoy?
Since they were babies, we started taking them to the library. They have a lot of story times here. So that was something that we did when they were younger. We go to the zoo. We did have a Disneyland pass for 2 years. So that was a lot of fun. Very, very expensive, but highly recommend. Yeah. Now that we don't have it, I miss it, but we're also saving a lot of money.
Disney sounds incredible. In fact, it's always been a dream of mine to be able to take the kids when they're a little bit older to Disney and to see their little faces just light up. Something I would definitely love to do. What was it like taking the kids out and about? I imagine you have to be very organised. Did you take strollers with you and snacks and all of that? How did you manage that?
It was very, very planned out, down to everything. When they're babies, we had to pack the formula, and something for multiples was something that helped us. We would get these little containers. So then each one had we would put the amount of scoops of formula we needed. And so then we would fill up the bottles with the amount of water we needed. and we would take them out of bottles that we needed for the time we are going to be out. So if I was going to be out all day, I took 9 bottles.
Wow.
And then it was very easy just to put the prepackaged formula, shake it up, and give it to them. So that's something I recommend.
Brilliant.
But yes, very planned out. Like we always had them on a routine. Like we still did naps when we were out, things like that.
Whenever you are out and about in public, I know what it's like here. Certainly in Northern Ireland, whenever I have twins, people are fascinated by twins. And say, for example, I'm going to the grocery store to get some milk and bread. You know, lots of people would stop me and say, you know, the usual questions, are they twins? Are they identical? Double trouble? I don't know how you do it. You've got your hands full. Do you ever experience that in California? Do many people stop you with the triplets whenever you're out and about in public?
Absolutely. Especially when they're younger, like when they're babies. Sometimes we couldn't even get anything done because we were stopped at like every few steps. But I love sharing their story. I don't mind like all the questions. I really enjoy it. But sometimes we do get the rude comments. But now that they're older, my triplets, they don't really look that much alike and they look more like siblings. So we don't get as many questions, but now we get like a lot of stares because we're a big family.
I think I saw on your Instagram you had like a little wagon, isn't that right, to get out and about with them? Would you recommend it?
Yes, we have the Wonderfold wagon.
Wonderful
and we
wagon,
have
yep.
the Zoe stroller. So I do recommend both. Because we use it for different outings and they're both very expensive, but we put it on our registry and our family helped us get it. So we're very grateful. The wagon, I like it because they get to stand up in it and we still use it. So they have like a little bit more freedom. So it just depends on the outing. Like if we're going to the park, we'll take the wagon. But for Disneyland, Zoe stroller is actually the only triple stroller that's approved. So we use that a lot.
Really? Okay. And on beach days, how do you manage everything?
We're from Long Beach, but that beach, not many people swim there. Well, there is Mother's Beach. We haven't taken the triplets there. But we usually go to Newport Beach, less crowded. So we take the wagon, take like a little beach tent. So that helps us like with shade and lots of food and snacks.
Super. And I'm sure you have your high factor sun cream on as well. We have sun here in Northern Ireland very rarely. Anytime it's out, it's like, let's go to the beach, let's go, make the most of the weather. It doesn't happen very often. Factor 50 sun cream on the children as well. But California must be a wonderful place to bring up a family, and we've been so close to the mountains, been so close to the beach and Disney as well. Like it's a wonderful experience for a family. I imagine you're still off on maternity leave at the moment.
Yes.
Can you talk us through what a typical day in your family home looks like?
So right now, well, my husband is back at work, but he's only doing part-time. So that I don't have to be alone with him like so much, even though it is doable, but it's nice to have help. So,
of course,
like he's home today. So we do in the morning breakfast and we'll play outside and we'll have some snacks and then nap time. We've been going out after nap time. So if we're going to go to the park, we go in the afternoon, or the beach, we go in the afternoon. We recently got a pass to a local children's museum. So we've been going there a lot as well. And then we do lunch somewhere in between there, and then dinner, bath, bedtime. That's like a typical day.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to your house. Up, breakfast on the go, a little bit of outside play in the warmer summer months, and lunch, and trying to get out and about in the afternoon. We try to go to a little park, or the girls at the moment love the swings and the slides, and then home for dinner, bath, bottle and down. But I don't know about you, but I know at the end of the day, I'm always so very tired, and it's nice to just get a little cup of tea and just rest and unwind from the real busy day. I'd love to ask you, have there been any challenges along the way managing the triplets? There are 3 now. Like, what was the first 3 years of triplet motherhood really like?
For me, I found the newborn phase was easier to right now, even though, right now they're independent. They are potty trained. But I felt more rested then because they would eat, and sleep, and that was it. But their personalities are coming out and they're very strong-willed and lots of no's and tantrums, but very fun, very unique, and I just love being a mom and being with them. But I feel like it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but such a beautiful experience to see them grow up together. And
Do they interact with each other? Like, are they good pals or what's that like?
I feel like more now they do interact with each other a lot. Like they play together, they do fight together a lot, but when they do get along, they're very sweet. Like they tell each other they love each other and they hug and kiss each other. I do notice, even though they do fight, they do share more than singletons that I've noticed.
I remember whenever I came home from the hospital and my twins obviously were our first children, and it was such a shock. You know, we weren't used to having kids in the house and, you know, up every 3 hours and changing nappies and feeding and late nights. It took a while to get used to and ease into our new chapter of life. Did you experience that yourself? Like such a huge shock, you know, a big life transition?
Definitely an
Yeah.
adjustment from going from 0 to 3 kids. But I feel like we got into a routine pretty quickly. And surprisingly, going from 3 to 4 is not as hard as I thought it would be. It's phase where she just eats and sleeps. So I don't know how it'll be when they're all running around together. One of them is company.
I can hear some of them in the background. It's so sweet. They're very welcome to join the podcast if you want. Ayla and Aria make an appearance quite regularly. They're very welcome. Your role as a mum never switches off. Sometimes I found the days a little bit lonely in the beginning, you know, just I think it was the lack of sleep and not knowing many new mums at that stage. Have you ever, like, do you know many other families in your local area who are families of multiples, maybe with triplets or twins? Is there a community support out there for families of multiples where you're from?
Yes, actually, when I had the triplets, I found a local mama multiples group, and it's based in
Wow.
Long Beach. And it has been the best thing, even though right now I am the only triplet mom. It is so helpful to be around moms that just understand how it is to have multiples. And there's like moms with kids that are older, like adults and teenagers, like all the stages. So it's so helpful to get
Wow.
like all the advice. And we do get together once a month, and then we have a few family outings throughout the year.
When you get together, what happens? Do you like share a cup of coffee and have a chat, or do you go for a walk, or what do you do?
We have different things each month. So, like last month, we had a gathering where we all brought like things that our kids have grown out of, and we all like swapped items. And then next month is Mom's Night Out. So, that one we're going to a wine bar, and we
Wow.
do different things. Like, so other times we've done yoga. What else have we done? I think we did like a bowling night. So each month is something different. And sometimes we go out and sometimes it's hosted at another mom's house.
I think the importance of being able to, like, human connection and that wonderful idea of community, as you say, meeting other families out there who just understand. You know, they're certainly very much families of multiples and they know what it's like to have more than one baby at a time. So I think
Mhm.
that's incredible. Fortunately, we don't have anything that I am aware of here in Northern Ireland
Yeah.
like that, perhaps. It might you've maybe given me an incentive to perhaps set something like that up. I think it would be a lovely
Mhm.
idea. I set up some coffee meetups and walks once a month to meet up with other mums, and on occasions we bring our little babies with us, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to connect with other mums and dads who just get it. And we share little tips and tricks along the way and any advice. And it certainly has lifted my experience of twin motherhood and made it a little bit brighter. If there is anybody listening to this podcast chat, perhaps they are expecting triplets. What advice would you give to them?
I would give them the advice to put the babies on a routine. That has been like the best thing. When one baby eats, they all eat. When one baby sleeps, they all sleep. But also, I think, they're going to find what works for them and go with their intuition, and you're going to do great. You're going to be okay. And it's going to be a beautiful and chaotic life, but it's going to be amazing.
Is there anything that you wish you knew now that you didn't know before you became a mom?
I didn't know that I was gonna say, like, I don't know, out here, I feel like it's very, I guess, typical to be a working mom and be away and the kids are at daycare and things like that. Like, I thought that was how it was going to be for me, which it is, but I'd rather be home. So I wish I knew that, and I probably would have picked something that I could be at home more, to have that work-life balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe people think that like children are a burden. But
Yeah.
it hasn't been that way for me. So
Did you find it hard whenever you returned to work, after the triplets?
it was extremely hard. I actually went into depression. At the time, I had like a 3-hour commute. I was working in LA, so I did that for a year and a half, and I found work closer to home. So now
Great.
my commute is only an hour and a half, but it's still very hard. Definitely a transition.
I'm a stay-at-home mum, but that wasn't the plan. I had planned to return to work, but the cost of childcare here in Northern Ireland, and especially with two babies at one time, was just extortionate. So I had sat down, had a good conversation with my husband, and we thought the best decision was for me to stay at home at that stage and to look after the children. It was such a huge adjustment. I had planned to return to work after 1 year, and it is hard. It's definitely hard sitting at home at times, especially I used to work in television, so it was very much a very busy, similar to yourself, like just noisy environment where it's a noisy environment, but it's a very different noisy environment here at home with two babies, and sometimes the days can be lonely when it's just the children and me, and very little adult conversation. But I've learned little tips and tricks around that. If I ever feel lonely at home, I'm like, right, everybody into the car, let's go, we're going out for a little drive or a little walk just to get some fresh air. And I talk about it a lot in the podcast about minding our mental health, and particularly in motherhood. Like, is this something that's important for you, or do you practice any self-care?
The triplets, it was very hard to find the time to have self-care, but this time around, I think now that they're older, it's easier to find help. So I do get out of the house. I do take the baby because I'm breastfeeding her only, but
Yeah.
I've gotten a massage. I do try to go to the moms of multiple meetings. I do go to church every Sunday and Bible study once a week. So those are things that I do for myself.
Is faith an important thing for you in your household, in your family, and something you'd like to perhaps pass on to your own children as well?
Yes, I grew up Catholic, but now I'm going to a Christian church. And it was kind of hard to go back to church after I had the triplets, but when they turned a year old, I found the courage to take them, and they go to the nursery, and I think it had a huge part in my pregnancy as well. Once I found out that I was having triplets, we're told all the very scary things. For me, I think God had a huge role in our journey.
Sounds like an incredible journey that you've been on. It certainly sounds to me in this podcast chat, that you have come through so many challenges in life, and they're much stronger for it. Like, you are to be admired. I think that was the biggest learning for me whenever I became a mum. I think I tried not to focus too much on motherhood until the children were here. You had so many things to think about with a multiples pregnancy. It was like, get to 12 weeks, or get to the second trimester, get to the third trimester, then the birth. But I think the biggest thing, if I thought about everything at the one time, I would have felt very overwhelmed. So I tried to take things just one little step at a time. But I think the biggest thing that I learned by becoming a mum was just how strong we are. And I think we don't really realise that. I'll be honest with you, like, certainly, like, my twins are 2 at the moment, and we're in the middle of that real toddler mayhem area, where they're certainly, we need to settle emotions, or they know, very fond of the word no a lot as well. It's just a completely different chapter, far cry from the newborn days. But at the end of the day, there's times I think, did I do enough today? Did we play enough? Did we eat enough food? Sometimes they refuse food, some days they don't refuse food. So, it just depends how they're feeling that day. But sometimes you feel really guilty and you think, am I doing enough as a mum? And then I kind of just stop, or in that moment, or one of the hardest things for me was when both of the twins were crying at the same time, particularly the newborn days, and like I was only able to look after one at a time, and like I felt so guilty. But I always try to stop in that moment and just remind myself just how far we've come. Because I remember in those early days, like I remember putting the nappy on the wrong way. I think feeling so bad. And I've probably changed thousands of nappies now, and thankfully I can say they've all been on the right way. Hopefully that'll continue. But like, yeah, I think we have to remind ourselves, and give ourselves a little break that yes, it's okay to say that motherhood and multiples motherhood is hard. It doesn't make us bad mums at all. We're just being realistic, and I think it's okay to be comfortable with that and to say that. And what I try to do, as I've said it many times in the podcast before, certainly in my experience, there are happy days, there are hard days, and there are those days in between that you just do what you have to do to get by, and that is good enough. If everybody's fed and everybody's clothed, and perhaps we maybe got a little bit of fresh air or had some time to play, and everybody's sleeping soundly in their cots at night, well, that's good enough, doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. But I think, did you ever find that yourself? Like, did you find that, gosh, I have this strength that I didn't know about whenever you became a triplet mom?
Yes, definitely. I just recently, my husband went back to work after baby bonding, and I was nervous to be home alone with the triplets and the baby. And I was thinking, I've been doing this for 3 years. Like, I got this. Like, yeah, but I do feel the mom guilt a lot, like you do. And I wonder if it ever goes away. I always feel guilty, but yeah, I do remind myself, like, we're doing what we can, and our kids are good, and yeah.
Yeah, I think happy and healthy, that's good enough. Definitely a lot to be thankful for. I'd love to ask you about potty training. Potty training I'm hoping to start this year, sometime soon. Did you potty train your triplets all at the one time, or how did you manage that experience?
I potty trained them at different times. They
Okay.
were not ready at the same time.
Okay.
So my daughter, Annalie, she's always been more advanced than the other two. And I wasn't planning to potty train like so soon, but she decided on her own. She told me, she said, "Mom, I want to go potty." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take you potty." And ever since then, like, she never wore a diaper again.
Wow.
But the other two, they just weren't ready at that time. So I think my next daughter, I potty trained her like 2 months after. And then Nolan, he just recently potty trained maybe like a month or two before he turned 3. It kind of worked out that way for me. If they were ready at the same time, I was planning to do all 3 together. But was helpful that I could just focus on getting that one to the bathroom. And then once she got it down, then I could focus on the next one. Yeah. But if your twins are ready at the same time, I'm assuming it would be easier to do it at the same time. We use I think it's called crab potty training method. There's
okay. What's that about?
I read that. So they recommend no pants, no underwear.
Okay.
And so, there will be accidents, but the focus is that they're going to recognize the sensation, like, oh, I need to go to the restroom, and then they go potty on their own. But so then after they get down the no pants, no potty, then you add the underwear, and then in the end you add the pants.
And did you find that method helpful?
I think so. Yeah, and versus like, I think the way I've heard others do it, like taking them every so often and waiting for them to go potty. I found it easier to do it that way, but always do what's best for you, because every child is different too.
Of course. Like, I wasn't sure even how to start it. I purchased a little book online last night just about potty training, and I thought I'll try that, just to read a little story about what the actual potty is and what we're doing. And, I am nervous about it, but I'll be so glad to get rid of nappies. Did you find it such a life change when, like, there was no more nappies required?
Definitely life-changing, more cheaper. When we do go out, we have a little portable potty that's in our trunk. So because gathering up like 3 kids to go to a public restroom is kind of hard. So usually get out the car, we go potty, we do our outing, we come back, go potty, and then we'd leave.
That's a
Obviously, if
great
it's like a
idea.
longer outing, we'll use the public restroom, but I take them all together. But I do recommend taking the potty on the go, the portable potty.
That's a super idea. I bought one and it's so funny. I think if a child uses the potty, it plays a little song. I think this is crazy. The things that people think of. I'm just anything to sort of try and make it fun and exciting. And, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go at all. But look, we'll give it a go anyway. But that's really good advice, actually. And the idea of bringing the potty out and about as well. No, that's great. I really appreciate that. Is there anything that we haven't covered in today's chat? Something that's really important to you that you would like to perhaps have a chat about? Or
Something that I wanted to mention for those going
yeah.
through infertility, or really something that for triplets, it's very rare. Even though that we did fertility treatment, it was less than 1% chance of us having triplets. And I just think that with God, like anything is possible, and no one really plans to have triplets. I'm sure it's a surprise for everyone, but it's gonna work out. Like it's gonna be okay. And it is a like emotional hardship, or physical hardship, financial hardship, but it's all gonna be okay. Like you're gonna persevere. God will provide.
Just what popped up in my mind when you were talking there, just thinking, I'm trying to imagine, what family life is like in your home in California. But like big family get-togethers or events throughout the year, for example, Thanksgiving and Christmas obviously are coming up over the next couple of months. What's that like in your family home?
We have a very large family. My husband is one of 5, and I'm one of 4. And we
Wow.
have aunts and uncles and cousins. So for Thanksgiving, we usually try to do, I think last year we were with my family. So the next year we'll be with his family. And then Christmas, we usually do our families together, my husband and I. So it's always a large gathering. Doing these holidays at other family members' homes is harder for us because usually it's like not childproof, things like that. So it's easier for us to have it here. But then it's also a lot for us to plan, but it's so much fun. We have on my side 6 grandkids, 3 and under. And then on my husband's side, there's like 12 grandkids. So it's a very large gathering
Wow.
and it's so much fun. Very special.
And I'm sure Santa will probably be coming this year. Do you think that the triplets will have much understanding or?
I think maybe this year they'll understand more. Last year they were into like opening presents and things like that, but I don't think they really understand like the concept of like Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to teach them more, how to be thankful and the story of Jesus.
I think that's really special. And do you have in your church, do they have like a little children's service or at Christmas time that they can join in?
At our church, great question. What did we do last year? I have really bad mom brain. Don't know what we did for Christmas, but for Thanksgiving they do have a Thanksgiving dinner that we did. So I wonder if I was out of town for Christmas or something. I don't remember, but I'm sure that we'll all participate if they have something.
Yeah, I think it's so special and to come together as a family and even the opportunity to just sit around the table and share food, perhaps sing songs or tell stories. What do you enjoy the most about being a triplet mom?
I love that they have each other. It's so special and unique. Like not a lot of people get to experience it. Yeah, I love being a triplet mom.
That's so special. Thank you so much for your time. We are a wonderful community, mums and dads and families of multiples, and listening to you and having a chat with you today. I know we're based here in Northern Ireland and you're based in California, but our lives aren't actually that much different, And I think it's so special that we share a lot of things in common. Actually, we probably wouldn't even have met each other or have been chatting with each other if you didn't have your triplets and I didn't have my twins, know, so like that's a little blessing that I've noticed, and by having the twins, like I've got the wonderful opportunity to meet an incredible a bunch of people right here at home in Northern Ireland and right across the world. So just like yourself, so thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and I've no doubt a lot of people listening will really resonate with a lot with what you've said, and I appreciate your advice there as well for mums to be of triplets who perhaps might be listening as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed doing this, and we have an incredible community with multiples, and definitely we met a lot of people that we wouldn't have come across, but I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you for your time today. I will join you next time for a chat on the Twins Mummy and I podcast. In the meantime, take care, and remember, there is always hope.